Okay. Got it. And Peter, that is the green light from the control room that we are waiting for, buddy. Looks like we are a go for launch. We'll start things off with the proper introduction. My name is Mike, aka Munster Rc on Instagram, and in the world of my friends, known as Munster Rc, owner of Carryall. It's no secret, I own Carryallrc, and just an RC enthusiast coming to you live from my humble abode. Welcome to the doghouse. And this is another episode of The Rad Show. A couple of RC addicted dads doing our thing, giving you the RC perspective through our lens, sharing our adventures with you each week, giving you kind of the latest and the greatest of what's happening in RC and what's happening on our workbench and in our world. If you're still here, coming back for more, maybe you're a repeat customer, I want to personally thank you. But if this is your first time stopping by and you are asking yourself now, what is RC? This is when I tell you to scroll on. I think your algorithm screwed up and steered you in the wrong direction. RC is what this show is all about. For a couple of RC addicted dads, we're just talking about the world of RC. So this one might not be for you, but if you're coming back for more, I encourage you to please subscribe. Take a moment. If you subscribe, that's what gets you qualified for all the good stuff, the promo codes. Each week we're bringing in guests. They come locked and loaded with a promo code, a chance for you to save. And by all means, it's what gets you entered in those contests and allow you to win. So subscribing does a lot. So if you take the time to subscribe on the way out, we greatly appreciate it. Lastly, I would just like to shift gears and acknowledge the biggest key thing about this show. It is a tag team. No one can do this alone. And I am here tonight with the latest, with my man, my good friend, Peter. How are you, sir?
What's up, Mike? Back another Saturday night, man. What a busy week, man. It's like cleaning up the hobby room today. Boxes everywhere, man. I'm gonna have to bang a wall down soon. I mean, it's just been a busy week, and we like to thank everybody that joins us every Saturday. Looking at the chat room, Tyler, Size Matters, Scale Rat, Jeff, Juice Box, Tiny Truck, and RC. Thank you guys for joining. And we like to mention, Mike said earlier about subscribing to the channel. We're getting close to our 500 subscriber. We're giving away an FMS. So if you guys share the show, get your friends to subscribe. Definitely check out our Rad Show Facebook page. That's been gaining momentum the last couple of weeks. So we post all the updates there, guest contests, and also radshow@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest or you have any questions for us, definitely shoot us an email. We definitely monitor it and get back. So thank you, everybody, for your support, and also all the collaborating vendors we work through. Mike and I work with a lot of different companies throughout the week. Carryallrc, Treal Hobby, CowRc, Rebel RC, Crazy Crawler Foams, Powerhobby, 2.4 Designs, Crawler Cult RC, RC Misfits, Scale Rat, KNK Hradware, Adventure RC, Wesmade, RC Prorack, FMS, Race Place Hobbies, RC Addict, and Remote Control Hobbies Orlando. I hope you're doing well, Nick, out there with that hurricane. And and Real Sticky, doing a lot of work on our merchandise and our, all our graphics. So thank you, Real Sticky, RC Car Action, the whole family over there. Yeah, it's been a busy week, man. I got, I got stuff everywhere, Bushidos, FJs. So happy to be back, brother. Happy to be back.
Roger that. Peter, we can't go any further. A couple of things. I probably would have lit the room up a different color. I just thought of it now with looking at your shirt. I could have gone a different color on the bulbs. It is lit green for the 9-0 Eagles. I did not wave the flag. I know, Peter, you bust my stones week after week for flying the
Hey,
flag.
listen, that green back there, that LED lighting I put up today is not green for the Eagles.
Oh, darn it. But you did wear the appropriate shirt tonight.
Yes.
As a veteran myself, I think we made the announcement earlier in the week that this show is dedicated Veterans Day weekend. We dedicate this to our soldiers, men, women, now, past, future. This is dedicated to our veterans. It's a small token of what we can do to salute them and thank them for everything they do. And of course, to our brothers and sisters at Operation 11 Charlie, what they are doing for the soldiers, for the veterans that come home with PTSD, struggling. Operation 11 Charlie is doing the real man's work, and we thank them. This show is dedicated to Operation 11 Charlie. So to them, we say thank you. And it also is dedicated to the month of November. Thank you for noticing. My beard is coming in nicely. I can't wait to see it like 3 weeks from now. I know
I want you to put like rubber bands in each side.
So I'm on a mission. No shave November. I am into this now. The concept, if you are new to what no shave November is, the concept is simple. You notice the scruff, you notice hair growing out, you let it all grow. Women, let your hair grow in the legs, just let it all go. You stop going to the hairdresser. No shave November, let the hair grow. The concept is you're supposed to notice it, say something to someone, and that will then strike up the awareness for cancer. At that point, hopefully it will save a life, maybe early detection, inspire somebody to get to a doctor and check that thing out or whatever. It is all about cancer awareness. Then what you do with the money that you would have used to go get a haircut or whatever you do at a beauty salon, that money is then to raise awareness for cancer. So take those funds and donate them to a good cause. No Shave November is all about cancer awareness, makes it so much more appropriate. And now you're going to see how all of these things start to connect. And we bring in our guest, a guest with a message of hope. And I think, me personally, this is where I stand on this, Pete. It's mind over matter a lot of the time. And that is, look at the glass half full. You need, Size Matter, Craig from Size Matters and we were talking about this the other day. So much is going into this fight with willpower and a positive vibe, and really think, if you go into a fight thinking you're going to lose, odds are you are. I know it's not that simple. I know I'm like super simplifying this whole thing with chemo and radiation. I get that, but really, I want everybody to, be willing to fight, get the eye of the tiger, and go in there with a positive think that you can beat it, and you can, because I know success stories. My aunt is in remission, cancer free. My mom, 2 types of cancer in the colon, and she beat it. She is cancer free to this day, like 3 years later, still cancer free. Wow. So it is beatable. We can win this freaking fight. So like I said, when we heard about Crawl for a Hope from our friend Judd and a couple of other guys out there on the West Coast doing this, I was stoked to hear from this dude Robbie and what they're doing. Robbie will fill us in on all the blanks, and I'm super excited. And if you stay tuned into it till the end of the show, about the halfway point, we're switching gears. We're bringing Scale Rat in with a big announcement. He's got something he's super excited to share with everyone, and he's here to teach us. So I got my pen and paper ready. I am so ready to learn how to weather a truck and stop hacking away at it. I want some tech tips.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, when we talked about the guests and you filled me in a little background, definitely a great thing they're doing. And, I'm excited to learn more about it and some of the stuff you mentioned, some of the things they did in a short period of time, their fundraising and everything. Exciting, great stuff. So, if you're ready, I'll bring them in.
Let's do it.
All right.
And he is here. Robbie, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
And we have your partner in crime,
Shaun.
Shaun. We have not had the good pleasure of meeting Shaun yet. So I think what is appropriate is to start out with a bio and tell us who you are. We'll start with the personal story, and then we'll get to the grand finale here and talk about what A Crawl for a Hope is doing.
Right on. Well, my name's Robbie Chapman. I'm 44 years old from California. I'm a cancer survivor. I battled non-Hodgkin's lymphoma type B cell for almost 13 years. When I was diagnosed, they told me I had 4 months to live. That just goes to show you the doctors only practice medicine. I just celebrated 8 years cancer-free on October 7th, which was a few days before the Crawl for Hope event. I'm a retired professional BMX rider who, when I retired, needed something to take up the void, and RC was that. And, my initials are RC, so why not RC with RC?
That's brilliant. I love it. I wish now I'm kind of jealous. I wonder if I can still change my name. I want to.
But yeah, no.
Go ahead.
My whole mission with this, and Shaun and I both feel the same exact way, as we just want to, raise awareness. I fought my butt off, to be here and to do things, and I feel like now it's our time to give back. There's so many people out there that everybody in this world is affected by cancer in some way. Everybody in the RC community, everybody in just the general day-to-day population, everybody knows somebody that has it. But there's still not enough awareness, not enough funding. There always could be more.
I think you're 100% right. And it starts with awareness. So you're doing real man's work, and it's all about getting people to talk about it, and hopefully you save a life, making people aware. You're hopefully trying to get somebody to get to a doctor or.
Yes, sir. And it's like you said, it's all a mindset. Like my dream behind this, and Shaun feels the same way, is that we want people to come up to us and say, hey, because of you guys and your event, I didn't give up. I kept fighting, and now I'm cancer free. That's our dream. That's what we want. We don't want to become famous. We don't want to become rich. We don't want none of that. We want people to see that there is hope. That's why it's called A Crawl for Hope. And the funny thing is, the person who helped us name it is also a cancer survivor, cancer patient, still going through it right now. A war veteran, saw battle with the Marine Corps. And he's also, he's one of the guys that helped get this whole event going. So there's so many people behind this event that, we couldn't do it alone.
Yeah, clearly. We'll come back to the event, because I'm anxious to hear, more about their backstory, and everybody that you have, working with you behind the scenes. They all deserve a nod and their shout out. Before we go too much further, Shaun, who are you? How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm gonna have to cut this short, guys, because I'm in the middle of a show with my wife, but I just wanted to jump on and kind of just touch base with you guys. So my Instagram handle is Tahoe RC Crawling. I've been in the RC game for about 15 years. I took a break for about 10 years and just came back into it a year and a half, 2 years ago. I am a father of 2 beautiful girls, married to my best friend for 15 years. And RC was just something I wanted to bring back in my life because of COVID, to get my daughter really wanted to get involved in it, which she's a huge part of this event. You can ask Robbie. She was out there working her little 11-year-old butt off, helping us out as much as she could.
She worked her butt off.
Yeah, but my whole thought on getting back into RC was just to kind of, like Robbie said, fill a void that was there. And I always looked at RC as a family hobby, as something that you always see the kids out there or the wife out there. And it was just something that I wanted to get back into. And after connecting with Robbie and a few of the other boys out here in Northern California, we We saw that Crawl for the Cure was no longer, and we wanted to fill that gap and continue to bring an event that just builds awareness and hope for everybody that's affected. You don't have to have cancer to be affected by cancer. We all know that. You know what I mean? My grandmother, my grandfather both died of cancer. I have so many friends that are battling cancer. Robbie, Matt, there's just, I could go down the list. But our whole point in this event was just to build awareness and hope. And like Robbie said, something to look forward to. You know, one of our buddies that he just mentioned, Matt, you know, he was in surgery a couple months before the event, and his exact words were like, dude, I can't wait to get to the event. And like, for someone that's battling cancer and just trying to battle to stay alive, to say that to us, it's huge. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, we're doing something, and it may be small now. We're trying to grow it to be something a lot bigger, but just the people we affected this year, it blew our minds.
Well, that is fantastic. Shaun, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And the first thing I will tell you is at any point you got to bail, you go do what you got to do. Family first. I still have a calculator out here. I'm trying to understand something. 15 years minus a year and a half. Carry the 1 minus the 2. How long of a break did you take?
I took a 12-year break. So, yeah. So,
okay.
I was big into RC.
So my question is this. So you take a 12-year break and you come back 2 years ago. What did your jaw drop after a 12-year break? I mean, what were you expecting to come back to? Because I could only imagine it's not the same scene. It can't be the same scene. What was your first impression of the new world order, that is RC today and the crawling scene? What was your first impression?
I was blown away. I come from the Scorpion days, back when like you could get parts and you could build a truck, but you know, I think back in the day it was all about having a cool looking truck and a truck that could flex as much as it could and all this other stuff. And now it's so technical. Like, I mean, it's insane to go into a machine or to work with some of my buddies. I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do? Oh, I'm going to oil my bearings. Well, what oil are you using? It's like, there's oil. 20 different oil. Back in the day, it was like, well, you spray WD-40 on your bearings. You know what I mean? Now it's like, oh, we got Speed Secrets oil, which is amazing. We got it's insane. Like, I'm building trucks faster than I can drive them. I'm having so much fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to Robbie this morning. I was like, I have my next build, parts for my next build that I probably won't start for 2 months.
Wow.
I listen, you can flex all you want, Shaun, but I've been to the West Coast. I know what the rocks are like. I still left part of my tire on those sticky ass rocks, so I don't want to hear it. I had my truck upside down underneath in a tunnel. It's stuck there. I pried it off. We're going to bring you out here to the
skateboard grip tape.
You got it.
Our rocks try to take cars.
You need to come out to the East Coast sometime and play on some slippery rocks with us in the creek, and then try and crawl. I love twisting some stones. I'm joking.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys out there on the West Coast, the videos that are coming out on Instagram are all coming from the West Side. I mean, I see some insane builders out there, some very cool companies coming out of the West Coast. I mean, I'm ready. When my kids are going off to college, I'm ready to take the wife and say, look, we're going out west.
Yeah, come out and see us.
I retire out there.
Hey, you guys, so I got to cut it short. I got to go
do your thing.
My wife. I truly appreciate the opportunity to come on here. Robbie he's got all the words to pass on. I will watch this later. Again, guys, I appreciate everything you're doing for the hobby. And we hope that maybe next year, you guys, I know it's a far drive, but we'd love to have you if the opportunity arises.
That's great, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a wonderful night. Be safe out there.
We'll do you proud.
Thank you.
All right, Robbie, no pressure, buddy. We are going to get through this, and we are going to make a crawl for a cure. Good. Let's paint this thing in a good light that I know it is. So the question I've got for you, Robbie, can we paint a little backstory on how RC for a Cure, which I think a big chunk of my friends will be familiar with. I still got RC for a Cure stickers on 9 out of 10 of my trucks back here. I've been rocking RC for a Cure tags and tagging them on Instagram for years. I've sent and donated so much stuff to RC for a Cure for many years. I've been on the Instagram RC for a Cure page on their wall many a times. I had a very close connection with RC for a Cure, and I was sad to see it take such a back seat for so long. I'm glad to see a version of it, like a Rising Phoenix is starting to come back.
Yes,
Is that a good assessment? Is it a part of RC for a Cure, or is that gone and
Well,
it's all
the Crawl for a Cure, their last event was last year. And how I found out about it is Mark Betancourt, who ran it. They reached out to me and heard my story and asked if I'd come give a speech at the drivers meeting. I talked to Mark. I told him I knew the event was going to be no more. So I told him, I said, I'm not going to let it die. Like I said, I come from BMX, and every year on my cancer-free anniversary, I'd have a BMX event. All my sponsors would donate stuff. We'd raffle it off. All the money would go to the F Cancer Foundation. When I retired from BMX and I got into RC, I had the idea to do an RC event. And that's when I started talking to Mark. But I didn't have the connections that I did in BMX in RC. So that's where Shaun came in. Shaun and I clicked. He's one of my best friends now, and he's a great guy. And he helped me get it going, and now it's going, and it's going to be even better next year. So the main reason behind it, the Crawl for Hope, like I said, came from a buddy, Matt, who's going through a cancer battle now, also a veteran. And when I was going through my battle, it was hard for me to get out of bed sometimes, but I knew I had to do it, and I wanted to find something that I could do that was low impact. I couldn't go out and ride my bike anymore. I couldn't go out and do flips and spins and all the tricks that I used to do. And then when I retired, after I became cancer free, I went back to racing again. I just wanted to show people that you can get back to a normal life. Did that for, like I said, I raced Bet Pro for about 3 years, and then I just realized my body couldn't take it anymore. Needed something more of a low impact to take up my time, and that's where RC came in. And then I guess the rest is history now.
Robbie, so I love how you have picked this up so naturally. Where does a Crawl for a Hope happen? Is it happening in the same location that Crawl for a Cure did? Like, so if we came out to the West Coast, where are you hosting this event?
It is at Donner Ski Ranch up in Norton County. Up in Norton. It's where Axial Fest has been prior years.
World famous Donner Ranch. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Shaun is really good friends with Marshall, the owner. He's known him for over 20 years.
Okay.
Marshall said we could basically take over the mountain and do whatever we want, just don't burn it down. And that's, I'm sure, as you know, that's one of the best crawling spots, I think, in the world. The terrain is amazing. And Marshall and Janet, the owners, are amazing hosts. They went out of their way to make everything welcome and just a great time for everybody.
That's fantastic. So I guess the idea beyond raising awareness, that's got to be step number one. We're bringing awareness to cancer. Is it any particular type of cancer? And
no sir. That's one of my big things. Is I created a hashtag years ago called All Cancers Matter, because there's over 27 different forms of cancer, but if you ask the general population, they can only name maybe 5. And I wanted to change that. That's why I build all these rigs that are pink and lavender, because lavender is the color that represents all forms of cancer. And that's my passion spot in this. Is it's not just about one, it's about all of them. For example, childhood cancer, less than 1.7% of all cancer research funding goes to childhood cancer every year. Where are we going to be in 20 years if our kids are dying from cancer? That's not fair. That's one of those things that's not known about. And that's kind of my thing, is I want to change those statistics, with the Crawl for Hope and everybody's help, we can.
All right. Well, that's a good message. And I think that's one of the things like happened in October with everybody going pink. It was all about breast cancer. I think there's been a little loosening of that a little bit, trying to, make pink more about cancer awareness again, to just get people focused on that beyond.
Oh, yeah. I run pink on everything. This is one of my rigs here. Pink vanquish wheels, pink stickers all over it. So it's all about that. People see a guy with a pink rig and they ask why pink, and that's an open door for me to tell my story and tell what we're all about.
This has become one of our more popular vinyl wraps now. Um,
Yes, sir.
as a business owner, it was important to do our part the best way we could. And this has become a staple now of the bag. This won't go away all year long. This will always be up on the website. And I'm not all right. I was shocked with joy, shocked with joy about how many men and women got behind this and just wanted this little token to put on their bag and show awareness. So pink seems to be the color that people associate with cancer awareness. So that's fine. I get
Yes,
it.
sir. And if that's what it takes to get the message out, then that's what I'm going to do. If I have to make a neon pink complete rig, then I will.
Real men wear pink. I mean, we were riding back. Hey, my BMX bike used to be pink back in the day. I had my pink GT Performer. I used to rock that.
I raced an all pink bike for about 2 years. And that was after my cancer battle. That was my way of raising awareness.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to tell you what, Robbie, you made a new friend here. I will be in touch. I will pick your brain and learn how to manual yet. All winter long, it's all about muscle memory and teaching this old man body of mine to learn how to manual.
You have my email, you got my phone number, reach out anytime. I'll be glad to help you.
I'm going to work my way through it. As a professional BMX racer, I mean, you slid it past that so darn quickly, dude. You just kind of like, BMX rider, professional bike rider, blah, blah, blah. Then skimmed right over it. Bro, I'm like, my head wanted to explode. I'm like, he's a what? That is so freaking radical, dude. Like, I
did my job for many years, and it was a big part of my life. And
I love it.
My body couldn't take it anymore, and I had to walk away because once I got in a bike, there wasn't a switch that I could turn off and be like, okay, don't ride 100%. You know, when I hit a bike or hit a jump, I'm gonna 110% every time. So I had to just tell myself no.
Man, you're like a rock star, dude. He's like, yeah, I was like in some band named Linkin Park or something. Just like glances right past it. Man, so I got a bike rider. Like, bro, dude, that's so sick. You have got
everyday life for me.
I love it. You've got such a great backstory. You've got a message of hope for everyone out there. Personal backstory, my mother-in-law, I've been married for 20 years and with my wife for 25, dating, you in-laws become a part of your life. It's like a second set of parents, and to have a mother-in-law fighting cancer right now is the whole reason I'm letting this stuff grow. Maybe I'll shave it in December. This is really, I'm on a mission to do my part to bring awareness. I am high risk for colon cancer. I carry a gene that makes me susceptible for colon cancer, and it runs in my family. So like you said, or Shaun actually might have said it, at some level, if you're not personally fighting it, you know someone that is. You can't throw a stone without hitting somebody that is deeply impacted in some way, shape, or form of the.
Yes, sir. And I tell everybody that cancer is the one thing in this world that does not discriminate. It doesn't care what you look like, what sex you are, what nationality you are. It will still try to come kill you just like everybody else. And that's why prevention, awareness, and everything is so important. And it's even after your battle, like myself, it's not over. The battle isn't over once you're cancer free. You know, you still have to go on. You still have to worry about it coming back. You still, and in my eyes, you still have to fight. You have to fight for everybody else that's out there fighting. You know, and I tell everybody, it's like you said earlier, it is a mindset. It really is, and it's all about the people around you that support you and that love you. I've been with my gorgeous wife for 17 years. We have an 11-year-old son, and he was
a miracle boy.
He was. I was told I'd never have kids.
Miracle.
And at the point when we found out my wife was pregnant, I had went into remission for about 2 weeks, and I told myself and I told my doctors, if it comes back, I'm done. I'm not doing treatment anymore. I'm just going to let it take its course. I can't go through it anymore. And then I found out that my wife was pregnant, and that changed everything. Everything else went out the window. I said, screw my mindset now. It's time to be a man. It's time to just look at this in the face and fight it. I have to be here for my wife and my soon-to-be son, and I went from a pity party for myself to working 50, 60-hour weeks, Monday through Friday, going to chemo Saturday morning, taking Sunday off, then right back at it Monday. And that's what I had to do. I didn't want to rely on anybody. It was my duty to fight it.
It's that unconditional love. You know, you have to be a father to understand what that means, and you'll do anything for your kid. You know, if somebody told me to cut my right off, you know, cut an arm off, I'd be like, which one? Take them both, you know, to save my kids. So you're fighting for them, you're fighting for your wife. And early detection is a key. And I think colon cancer has to be one of the leading types of cancers that is the leading killer of cancers. It's pretty horrific. The stats are high, but it is like one of the most treatable cancers out there. They can get in there and cut a section of your colon out, like, I don't know, a foot of it that you don't need. When I was 29 years old, I had a small bowel resection done. They cut that out because of diverticulitis unrelated to cancer. Just that, like, they can take sections of you out that you don't need. The human body is shit crazy how this stuff works.
And the majority of it is a lot of it is men, but there's a lot of women that have colon cancer too. And the conception on men with colon cancer is like they don't want to go to the doctor and have the test because of what the test is.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you can either feel that way or you can possibly get cancer and just not really have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, get over yourself. You're out cold. They're molesting you and you have no idea what's happening. It's like being abducted by an alien. All right, just let them shove the probe up there.
Get over your ego. Get over your ego and get in there and get checked.
Yep, it's true. And it's the greatest place on earth to fart. Like these nurses will cheer for you when you pass gas. After when you wake up, you don't get to leave until you pass gas. And when you fart, they cheer. Like, this is the greatest place on earth, people. I'm ripping farts and you're cheering for me.
They cheer and hand you a clipboard and say, "Here, sign this, you can go."
Yep. So, hey, if you like farting, go get a colonoscopy done.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a badge. Make it a shirt, people. Hashtag it. But I joke about it to bring humor, and
that's what we need, though. And people need to see that the stereotype or stigmatism around it that's exactly what it is. It's just a stigmatism. If you just get over it, get over yourself, get over your ego, and go get it done, you'll be a lot better off.
So what's the vibe? Paint a picture for us for a Crawl for a Cure. Talk to the people out there. If they're on the fence looking for an event to attend next year, get them to Crawl for a Cure. Is it somber? I mean, paint the vibe. What are we dealing with there?
It's a Crawl for Hope.
Sorry.
No problem. That happens all the time because, you know, we're filling that void where Crawl for Cure left. Crawl for Hope, it's a family event. It's open to everybody that wants to come, a cancer survivor, patient, relative, or not, or just an RC enthusiast. You're more than welcome to come. This upcoming next year when we have it, it's possibly going to be a 2-day event back at Donner Ski Ranch for sure. And it's just a good time. We have multiple events. We had a sumo table. We had tractor pulls. We had an off-road Baja challenge. We had a gentleman bring in a rock crawling course that was on a trailer. And we set out a bunch of lines up in the mountain at Donner. We had a hard line challenge to where the winner won a little trophy. You know, it was like whoever can get through the course the fastest won, and it was a pretty damn hard course. And we had
Robbie, did you say you had a man bring in a course on a trailer?
Yes, sir.
So is this for micros or something? Is
this
a
full 10 scale? It was a full-size car trailer, and he had things that folded out of the car trailer to where you could drive up on the trailer from the parking lot. A lot of the obstacles were inside the trailer. A lot of them were elevated above the trailer. He set it up in probably about 15 minutes.
I want. So that sounds freaking awesome. Like to have something at a mall or like at a place where you're at Donner Ranch. What the hell do you need a guy to pull a trailer in for? Like there's trails everywhere. This trailer has to be amazing to get to a fundraiser or somewhere to bring awareness where it isn't. So is that the concept behind the trailer with
well, he showed up on his own.
Wow.
And he just brought it all on his own, and I
love it.
And talked to him, and he said it was just something that he wanted to do, and it worked out great because there was some people there that weren't able to hike up the mountain. So the people who couldn't hike up the mountain were super content and happy just to crawl in the parking lot.
I love it. That is genius. Now I do know of another one of these trailers that exist on the East Coast. The guy built one of these, and the idea was to have birthday parties for kids. You know, so it's your 8th birthday coming up. You rent this cat with his truck and his trailer. He rolls in. He's got 6 or 7 little micros, and he opens up this trailer, and it's got, you know, different areas to do stuff. Right off the back of a trailer. It's brilliant way to do a different type of birthday party for your 8-year-old or whatever. You know, have a birthday party for a 49-year-old guy like me. I'd love that for my next birthday, wife, if you're listening. So that's awesome. So that's the kind of stuff that you're bringing. A lot of different things for everyone. Bring your rock bouncer, bring your crawler, bring everything. Come and bring your family.
We had a Baja challenge done by Bitch and Bodies out here in California. We had dirt drags. We had people with DR10 drag cars, you know, drag slashes with paddles on them, doing drag races in the sand.
I love it. There's something like that happening right now. Was there a logo I saw attached to you? No Limits, was that right?
Yeah. No Limits RC Club.
Yes.
It's a club that a lot of people are members of. They were a big help in getting this event going. They were one of the main sponsors that we had. Everybody from the club that could make it made it. We had people come up from Southern California, all the way from up in Northern California, 8, 9, 10-hour drives just to come help and support the event and help out. And that's what an RC club is about. And they came through. They came through like champs. They really did. And I mean, this event wouldn't have happened without No Limits, Shaun, all the people involved. There's so many people, I can't name them all. But that it was all a team effort. You know, it wasn't about just me. It wasn't about, you know, just No Limits. It was a conglomerate of people that made this happen.
Wow.
So when is the event scheduled for next year?
We're talking about mid-August now. We haven't officially set a date yet. We're looking about mid-August because there's a couple of events that border that, and there's nothing in August in our area. So we're trying to fill that void, and also to make the weather a little bit better because it was rather cold up at Donner in October.
There's so many events anymore. It's almost impossible to not have 3 events on one weekend anymore. It's so hard to.
But we looked at August, and there's in our general area, there's nothing going on in August, and that's why we're looking at dead center 2nd, 3rd week of August right now.
And you say that funny, your general area, because I often forget. I'm like, well, it's California. You're all in the same damn state, but I often forget that's the whole darn West Coast. Like, it takes you all 16 hours to travel one state. Like we drive through 12 states, and when it takes you to get to one end of yours. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it took a lot of guys coming from Southern California, and we're pretty much dead center in California. It took them 9-10 hours to get up here.
It's insane.
We had one. I mean, example how committed the No Limits guys were. One of the guys. I'm not going to name his name because I don't know if he wants that out there. But halfway through his drive, he found out his mom died.
Oh,
now she's all the way on the East Coast in South Carolina. All he did was pull over, wake his son up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, give his son a hug, put his son back to bed, and then kept driving all the way up. That's the commitment that No Limits had for this event, and how much this cause means to everybody.
And as far as before we forget, as far as where can people find you? You have Instagram, Facebook, like dedicated to the event. Like, do you have?
Yeah, we have on Instagram and Facebook. There is a Crawl for Hope page on both. My Instagram is RC_with_RC. And my Facebook is just Robbie Chapman.
Okay, great.
All right. Shaun is Tahoe RC Crawling, and that's the main 2 that we're working with right now. That and the Crawl for Hope pages.
Robbie, please make sure that we get that information correct so we can put proper links when we post this tomorrow, and file it in our channel. We want people, just click on your link and get to your Instagram and follow what you're doing, support what you're doing. And I guess the last thing I want to ask you before we bring on ScaleRat is, as a business owner, you got my juices flowing. I want to know what we can do to help you in any way, shape, or form. Are you accepting donations? Are you accepting sponsors? Do you have?
Yes, sir. I mean, right now we had over 33 sponsors this year, and we're trying to make room for more, as many as we can get, because it takes an army to make this happen, as you guys know. And the more sponsors we get, the more ways we have to get the message out there. We're not looking for any financial backing right now. We're just looking for product to make our raffle as rad as we can, lack of a better term.
I love
Sure, we
it.
could help out with that, Mike.
Yeah, keep saying right all you want all night long. Yeah, that's awesome. You want the prizes there. You want the people deserve them. And we will do whatever we can.
Like doing that. Like I said, my background is in BMX, but I also have a marketing background, you know, and I love promoting, and that's what I do, because I love going on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and just promoting the people that help us, because without you guys and the sponsors, we couldn't do it.
I'm sure we could send you something rad. Here's my donation for your check. But we'll sponsor it. Here's your scale banners to put up, but they do say rad. I'm joking. I am joking. Yes, please. As a business owner, you know, you're talking my language, and we would like to do whatever we can to help you. So by the time you get your date scheduled, we'll have one eye on what you're doing at all times, and hoping. I know Peter with Treal, I'm sure you'll be doing something. I can guarantee it. Maybe we can add to that 33 list of sponsors that you've got and make that even bigger next year.
We would greatly appreciate it, you guys. Like that means a lot to us.
And
Yeah,
Robbie, we're here.
definitely look us up once you get the event set up and dates confirmed. I mean, I could probably help out most likely with Treal, send some product down, and Mike could take care of the carry-all aspect. So yeah, definitely look us up, and send me a message of all your Instagram handles. So I have
I definitely will.
Just message me at any scaler. Just list them all out, and I'll put it in the recap tomorrow.
And
thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
And I'm not saying goodbye to you, Robbie. You do not need to leave anywhere. We encourage you to hang out as we bring ScaleRat on. But before we do that, I want to make sure it goes without saying, in anything we can possibly do, if you need a platform and anything, if you need a message out, this platform is yours at any time, for whatever message you get out. This is your home, and we stand behind you and what your message is. And if we can help be a beacon, if we can help be a microphone or an amplifier in any way to help get the message out there at this place, is we are family and here to help you in any way we can.
I appreciate it immensely, guys. Thank you. And I just want to say, I just want to thank my wife and my son, because without them, I would not be here. You know, they are my driving force behind fighting this and fighting to live and continue to what I do. I wanted to make them proud of where I am today. And I know everybody else from the event feels the same way. So just thank you to my wife, Lindsay, and my son, Noah.
Awesome, man. Well, keep in touch, man. Definitely. Thank you
definitely
for all you do.
Appreciate you guys more than you know.
You have no idea, you know, what a soldier we think you are. We are super stoked to have met you. But we are going to shift gears, and we're going to learn how to paint and hear the announcement from our friend ScaleRat. So if we don't catch him with his pants down, we will let him pop in here. So I will give him the nod, Mr. ScaleRat, Robert Pezza. If you are listening, turn that video on.
Robbie, take care.
Have you ever seen, Robbie, have you ever seen the man? Have you ever followed this guy before? Do you follow him on Instagram or ever seen his work?
Yes, sir. I do. I follow him on Instagram very closely. I'm getting ready to paint a body right now. So,
it works. The camera works.
I know it's so bright, but hold on. I got to look around the camera. I got to make sure I'm not showing something I'm not supposed to be showing.
All right. Now, everybody hurry up and look. Take a screenshot. Quick look around this room. The man that's a walking NDA. Take a look around that room. Did Robbie jet on us? All right, Robbie.
All right. We're good. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay.
You're good now? Robert, did you have a chance to hear anything we talked about earlier with this man for Call for a Hope?
I am down, Robbie.
Bro.
If you need to paint a body, I'm down with the pink. Whatever you need, man. You just hit me up. I got you.
Wow. See, that's the kind of love that spreads very quickly. A message gets out there. Robbie is doing real man's work. I love it. So as we shift gears and we welcome you, sir, You stirred up the internet and you broke it last week, my friend, on Operation 11 Charlie, with you working in the background there.
Yeah.
You were working on a fun little truck. FMS brings the FJ 45 to the market and flipped the world upside down. And what is it? How many hours later was it? And you were like already, well, wait, this has become a thing because I seen you get a TRX 4M and like 4 hours later, things like
I know. I look at his Instagram. I look at his Facebook. This guy, every hour, there's a different truck. And then all of a sudden, the TRX 4M, there's like 5 of them. I can't keep up with his Facebook. I don't even watch it no more. Every other hour, there's more trucks.
But what people couldn't believe is how fast you had that FJ like taken apart. I mean, that show's not that long.
I don't know. Like I took it out of the box and I was looking at it and like I felt like I was a little kid again. Like I have to take it apart. So I got to figure out how I'm gonna paint it. And I know this show is only like 2 hours long, and I'm like, I think I might be able to get this done. So honestly, it was wild. I don't know. I got into the zone and it just went from there. It was awesome. It was a great experience. And I can't wait to do it again. I'm stoked.
That's awesome. So the first thing I want to do is get the announcement out of the way. So obviously what we want to do is throw a nod back to Operation 11 Charlie again and say, watch the episode that Desmond Mooney was the guest. So full disclosure, Desmond Mooney is the guest of our, and they have Robert in the background. Kind of no mic, not mic'd up, just kind of working away. The camera's locked on him. By the next time you look over, it's not the same truck that was there a minute ago. Oh, I can't believe, there it went. I hit the microphone. Is it still working? You can still hear me, right?
Yeah,
I literally dropped the truck on the mic. It wasn't the same truck that you started with. So what I want to get to, Robert, is really maybe you can share some tech tips. I got a pen and paper ready. I need to understand where the heck do I even begin? And then number 2, I guess the exciting news that's going to happen with this. The other thing that I would say, Robert, is there an in-between on this? Like you took that full tour, like one direction. Is there a middle? How do we go halfway in between that? Is there a way where you don't have to go full blown, or is it all or nothing?
For me, it's all or nothing. I mean, like I have a vision. Once that vision is in my head, I have to execute it. So that's immediately like how I start the plan. So with this truck, obviously I'm not going to paint the whole entire body, its base coat live. It's just not going to happen with that amount of time. So I had to work with the color that was on it. Plus, I love that color. That's a scale rack color. All right.
What's a scale rack color?
That color right there. That color is based off of the scale rack logo.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Spoke to me.
Okay.
So I still need to keep that color somewhere in this truck.
Okay.
So my next plans is now that I know that I have a base, it's already cleared, and now I need to paint on top of it. So there's certain techniques that you can do to paint on top of existing paint already. You can wet sand it, that allows another paint to go onto that clear, capture, and go. Well, we weren't going to have time to do a complete clear. So I wasn't going to scuff it up. So I decided to go with an oil paint. All right. Here's where the tips come in.
Okay.
All right. So if you watch the video, I covered the whole truck in this burnt umber.
Yeah, show me the bottle.
Burnt umber. Okay. Oil paint. Entire truck, right?
Yep. It's
So
like the stuff they have over at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, the oil paint that Bob Ross is painting happy little trees with.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the reason for the oil, it allows the body to stain. Okay. Now, oil paints take a really long time to dry. It could take 7 days for most cases. All right. So once you have where you want this color to be, right, you're going to let it sit, let it dry for a little bit. So like while I was doing that, I was looking over the truck. Then I decided to take out the seats and, start working on that while that was kind of like staining where it needed to be. So before it dries completely, or too much, you take a damp rag, then you actually start wiping away the oil. But go into the direction that you want certain streaks or gaps to fill in. Okay, so now you're just wiping away lightly. Then if you do it harder, you'll see that you're going to get closer to that bottom coat. So now you're going to get a different shade. Okay, so
Which is good.
wipe it down, get it to where you're happy and comfortable with. All right, and then let it dry in a little bit more, look it over, and then see if there's any areas where you want a little bit more. Then you just keep playing with the oil, filling in holes and the gaps and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you can see it. If you see into the seams, you see how much darker they are in there to make it look like water's been sitting there and it's rusted, it's corroded in that area. And that's what I love about using the oil paint.
Well, and one of the things that scared me, and I think there was a comment that was brought up about how you produce this paint job in, record time, 2 hours. How are you ever going to charge for a paint job ever again? You broke the internet. But what scared me all along, as soon as I found out you were going to paint this body, I know what goes into your rust jobs. We're talking days for you literally to rust and do that rust technique. Mm-hmm. So what you did during Operation 11 Charlie is not your standard paint job. You get into these things where they literally take you days.
Yes.
You did something very unique where you rushed. You're showing us a speed technique now.
Correct. It's a speed technique, but it's also based on skill.
Okay.
So it's years of learning, playing with colors. I mean, when I'm just sitting here by myself, I'll play and see what colors look great against each other. So best things to know is know your browns, know your reds, know your oranges, because your reds and oranges, those are what's going to lead to a hue of rust.
Yep.
Now your browns are going to be your dirts, your muds, and your dust. Now, a mixture of both, you can have a blend. So you have to know where to start. So with that oil-based, that is as dark as I wanted to go. So now I can go a little bit lighter. And then here we go. Nope, that's not it.
Did you say red and orange is your rust? Is that the two colors?
When you're doing airbrush work, yes.
Red
but
and orange.
Ballistic rust that takes me a week, maybe a little bit longer to do. That is
like a Tamiya 2-part mixture, right? Or something that actually naturally happens. Is that it?
No, well, you can use that stuff.
Oh, okay.
You can also just take
steel
wool, put it in a baby jar, sprinkle a little bit of sea salt in there, pour in some vinegar, let it open, let it sit out for a couple of days. Make sure you keep the cap because this stuff stinks. It's terrible. Okay. But what I really like about that, it creates clumps. And then you can use those clumps and add a little bit more textures to certain rust areas. Now, once it dries, it's going to be there. And what's really cool about that, it'll continue to be active and grow. As you're driving your truck, you get spritzed with a little bit of water. It's ongoing changing. It's a lot. And that I really love.
I've done the steel wheel.
That takes me weeks to do. So
I've done the steel wool technique before. I'm not afraid of it, but I'm happy to hear you get behind it and endorse it. That it's actually a legit thing that you approve.
Oh yeah,
and you use. Yeah. Okay,
100%. Because see, I tried the Model Masters where you put the liquid iron already made, and then you have your spritz stuff, that the activator and stuff like that.
Eric Such used to use that. That was his big one. He loved that.
Yes. But if you have to be very skilled and handy with the paintbrush in order to be able to use that. Okay. Because certain times, like if you put too much of the base color that comes with it, which is this nice dark brown, which is cool, and it can be too much. And if it goes clumpy, it's not going to give you the right color, because that base depends on what color your rust is actually going to show up, whether it's going to be dark, old rust, medium rust, heavy rust, light rust. There's so many different color rusts. So it all based on how you apply it, really. Okay. But now when you do the baby jar, you know what it is. You're looking at it, And then if you want a different color, different shade, at that point, the vinegar is going to be dried up. You just add a little bit more and you get to change how the effects. So you can have multiple different baby jars, which is pretty cool. Creating your own. That's a DIY for everybody.
The sea salt is also a part of the science, and that's what you're literally watching science happen in front of you and seeing it literally change. Is the salt adding any texture at all, like that pittiness? Is that doing anything, or is the salt pretty much dissolved at that point?
Activate the corrosion just a little bit more.
Science. Got it.
But I have tested out different salts. So a lot of like the kosher ice cream salt that works. Okay. It's just something about the sea salt. It just activates so much more, and I get the colors that I expect out of it.
I was using seasoned salt. Is that like, because it had this, I get it from the dollar store. It comes in a big jar. You get it for $1.
It'll all work,
but for you, $1. It's actually $1.25 now.
Yeah.
But it had that cool color to it. It had like an orange color already. I thought maybe that would have been helping cheat it. But you're saying sea salt.
For me, it's sea salt. If anybody else is using a different salt and it's working for them, let you do it. But I've had great luck with sea salt.
Now, Robert, I think we skipped one step here that I was excited to hear about. And maybe it was because my headphone wasn't working, but where you're at right now and what your base is, did you have any endpoint of what you wanted it to look like? Did you go on the internet? Did you get any references? Is that truck on the internet somewhere? No. This was all concocted up in your head. Would you recommend anyone to get reference points, I'm sure you've been studying it for years, like where rust actually starts to adhere, because your gripe is don't overdo it. There's a point where you can do too much. And that's crazy on a rust bucket to me. Like, what do you mean? It's a rust bucket, but there is too much.
Yes. And it's very easy to go over. I mean, sometimes I struggle with it. And, but it's just know your tolerance and like saying, you know what, it looks good the way it is. Let me just let it sit and dry, come back to it tomorrow. And then you're like, cool, it's done. You may have to do some touch-ups here and there, but
so obviously you didn't tape off these windows because these windows are all like blasted out here. So you were treating the truck the whole way. The truck, the windows, everything just got encoded with this process here with the oil, correct?
No. So the windows, I did my best to avoid, which I actually did really good. All of that is another paint.
Something different. Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking for it. I put all my bottles here. So washes.
Yes.
Washes are your best friend because those are what help you blend your colors. Okay. And also give you a different top coat look. Okay. So here's one that I love a lot, especially when I'm working with Land Rovers. Which one is that?
I think it's the same name brand as you have. But this is like a rust wash.
That's a rust one.
Okay.
You'll want to use like a very fine tip paintbrush instead of using it on an airbrush, because if you put an airbrush, you're going to get too much in certain areas.
It's like water. I mean, it comes out so thin.
So at least when you use a paintbrush, it's more controlled where you want like a drip to come down. That's perfect for that.
I didn't know that washes came in different colors. So okay. So what was the color that you held up there?
So this one here is a European. It's like a dust.
A dot. Okay.
So if you're picturing Australia or somewhere in the desert, you'll want something that's going to create like a dust, right?
Yep.
And then that's a good blend.
And that's what you're saying you did on the windows. That's how we got that look on the
windows. How we get that.
Okay.
And I wanted the windows to be all, fogged in and painted up like that, because when you see a lot of the trucks that are out there and they're being used as like a farm truck, nobody looks out the back window. Nobody really cares because they know point A and point B. And that's kind of where this was going. I mean, I still did the windows for like the windshield wipers and stuff like that so they could see through.
Now, how did you get the technique with the wipers? Is it that simple? Is it staring me in the face? You literally just wipe the wiper?
Yeah.
It literally, okay.
Yeah.
It's
I
that
mean, a lot of
simple.
guys will use like the masking tape technique, but what
Yep.
I'll do is if the wiper is semi-functional, so like it'll
Yep.
turn, I'll put it in its place and then I'll just slowly move it on the window and it'll create the
Like
perfect
an
line.
etch. Yep.
Right. And then kind of go from there. And now if I see that it's chipping it off automatically, then yeah, I'll just go ahead and keep doing it to get to the point where I
Wow.
want it to be.
It's so
It's that
cool.
simple.
It really came out great.
Thank you.
So we got the oil. We've got a good base one.
Yeah.
So what is next, Maestro?
Oil, your base. I mean, you see that it's filling in the crevices where you want it to be, but you can't just leave it there. I mean, technically you can. I mean, this is going to be trial and error for anybody that's trying to do this stuff. So see where you like it from there, let it dry, and then you can always continue to paint later. But I knew where it was going to go. So then
Timeline wise, where are we in the show right now? Like if we were watching Operation 11 Charlie and you working, are we about an hour into the show or like roughly?
no, as fast as I was working,
Yep.
probably about 30 minutes in.
Okay.
That
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I really wish I had a photo to see like what this stage looked like. What are we dealing
Gotcha.
with? So I'm gonna go back and check it.
All right. So now with an airbrush, I then
Yes.
came with this color. It's called Old Rust. Okay.
Yep.
So now with the airbrush, what I did was just airbrush the bottom portion of the truck. So like just this area right here. Okay. Just staying on the seams, bottom, because that creates the look of mud and dirt just on the bottom layer. Okay. So that's just creating that effect. It's starting a new effect. Okay. And you would do that around the whole truck. And you would also use that same for under the chassis. Okay.
You know what's funny? When you clean something, you start from the top down when you're cleaning. Now to make it dirty, you start from the bottom and work your way up. So it's
Yes.
completely opposite. This is genius.
All right. So now once I feel that I'm good, comfortable with that, I would then hit it with another color. Now, this is where things get a little bit more challenging. So this is where you got to have good finger control on your airbrush because you don't want too much coming out. Make sure that all your moisture is out of your tank, because if that fills out and this spurts out onto your project, it's going to be hard to fix it from that point. Okay. But here, this one here, I love this brand, by the way, guys. I've never had any issues with them. Vallejo, fantastic. Okay.
Okay.
So now this color. So now I'm
And
gonna
where do you get that? At your local hobby shop
Local
or
hobby shop.
Amazon? Is
you
where?
can get it on Amazon, but local hobby shop has it. Hobby
Okay.
Town is a big
Okay.
carrier for it.
Okay.
So now slightly above where I put this on is where I'm going to start spraying this lightly though. Okay. You can do it lightly first. And then if you feel that it needs to be a little bit darker, it's that type of paint where you put another layer,
It.
on, it can go a little bit darker. Okay. So now that should put us pretty close to the middle of the truck. Okay.
Yep.
So it's blending into the dark brown that I did first. And now it's just creating another darker layer. Okay. Now, because it's a slight bit darker, you could start hitting in certain crevices, like up here, do it around the door panels and stuff like that. And it's going to capture. Right.
I got a question
then,
that came in.
Oh, we did?
Fire away.
Robert, what is the pressure you're running for your airbrush?
30 PSI.
So Fish and Bill, 30
Yep.
PSI.
And you're rocking a pretty badass air compressor.
I am so happy with it. It is the best gift that I've given myself in a very long time.
You really leveled up here. Right after I saw you post that, I'm like, I gotta know more. I went over to Amazon to take a glance at this thing. I'm like, oh, homeboy here, he stepped up. He got pro level stuff here now.
I had to, because I was finding myself buying new air compressors every single year, you know, buy the Amazon, 100 when it goes on sale, $100, $125, whatever, comes with a little kit with all these other airbrushes. And the amount of projects that I do using them, they don't last as long for me. I mean, I know that there's a lot of guys out there that having good luck with it, but I wasn't. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just go in. Grex has been out for a long time. Their compressors are rebuildable. I can buy parts, do it. Their guns, super smooth. Love it.
I mean, it makes total sense for you to have this.
I had to.
For a weekend warrior, for the guy who's learning, there are options out there and alternatives. Yes. If you're not slinging an airbrush gun every day like Robert is, you might be able to have better luck with something in a more starter grade. But the one thing that Robert is trying to hit home on is that the proper tool for the job is important. And we've been learning more about micro detail brushes, and the right tool for the job helps.
Yes, very
the
much.
Right paint. I'm learning now. I need to go redo my paint inventory quickly.
Oh yeah.
And get some washes. So again, I can't thank you for doing this, Robert.
No, this is fun. This is awesome. Because I'm not giving you all my secrets.
Correct.
Giving you guys some of the basics.
We understand that, and also you're making it sound very simple. Because if you're going to airbrush and you've never done it before, you're going to end up with, scrap paper laying around where you've been like testing dots and making lines, have an area that it's
always good to do that. Even if you're a professional, it's muscle memory, right? Because getting your trigger down is probably one of the hardest things that I had to learn, is how much, like, this finger controls how much comes out of here. I'm at 30 PSI and you have air flowing through, right? But how much you pull back is how much is coming out of your gun,
Yep.
So
it might sound boring to someone to sit there and practice dots and lines, but that is probably the best thing that you could do, is just keep practicing them, making them darker and longer and fading them. It does help and get a little bit more confidence. So I guess
glad we got here, because the next step would be just that, because now you need to thin out some black, right? And you're going to have a test paper to try to thin out where you're at and how dark it is, because we're going to be at the point here where we need to outline your crevices, your openings, your doors, right? And also any little accent pieces. I had to spray a little bit of black on that, because now it's going to be dark, but it's going to blend it with all the browns that I previously sprayed on there. And that's going to make things pop, because once I get to the next step, which is going to be the dust, and then we're pretty much almost there. Like, we're almost done at that point.
So your step one, when we got the lower part of the truck and went there, did that include the wheels and tires, or was that a part of step one? The with the base doing it.
When you do this, you got to know your colors and what you're going to be painting that color. So that was all part of step one.
Okay, wheels and tires were included. Yep, because that's dirt.
Because each color that you do, you're going to do the same thing to the wheels and tires.
I love how you explained it. Browns are your dirts and your muds, your reds and your oranges are your rust.
Right.
Is there gray anywhere in this? It's gray and silver. Why I use gray and silver on all my rusting, because I'm thinking primer and scratched aluminum. Is that a bad thought? That
is a thing when you're using the salt technique. So that's when you're starting as your base. All right. So I would take like this body. So an example for this body does not rust. Okay. So everybody, Land Rovers do not rust. I've had to turn down jobs when people have told me, like, I need you to give me a rusty Land Rover. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Hence, like this one right here, he wanted it rusty. And I'm like, no, but I'll paint it correct.
Dirty as hell.
So something like this, it's an aluminum body. So the whole thing would be painted silver or aluminum paint, whichever you choose. I wouldn't do a gray, because it's not enough metallic.
Okay.
And what I would do is spritz some water, right? Just very light spritz on it, very fine pieces of salt in certain areas, right? It'll stick. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to choose a base color because again, if you're doing rust on another body, you would then start hitting with browns and, you know, reds, like a, what do you call it? It's like a matte red. I forgot it was dull red from Tamiya. You would hit with that in certain areas. But for something like this, I would then just hit it with my base and then let that dry, put it under some cold water, brush off the salt. Now some of that aluminum is going to come through. Okay. And then you can take your black wash, spritz it all over it. Okay. And then wipe it away. Some of your black wash is going to fill in those gaps where the salt once was, because it actually leaves like little holes in those areas. So now that black is creating a depth for that silver, which is pretty sweet. So now it's going to look like a sun blistered Land Rover.
So
sorry, there's so many different techniques.
No, I'm loving all of this. And I guess one of the things that I'm struggling with here right now, and maybe some of the old school guys that get a clear body, for a brand new clear body, you have to understand what I'm going to tell you is it was always painted from the inside. Like that's how all bodies were done before. I feel like we've gotten so far away from that. Is that true? Like you're looking at a RTR truck and you're spraying right on top of the body. So the Lexan is the same on the inside as it is the outside. Like we can just literally paint it the same way.
That all really depends on the artist and the driver, because on Lexan, if you're going to drive your truck out there and you're going to comps, you're going to roll, you're going to scratch your paint. But it's the same thing as a hard body. The only thing that's different is Lexan, you know, polycarbonate, you know, it's like thicker plastic. It's the same thing. It really is. Now, Lexan to me is a two-part. So whatever my base coat is going to be on the outside, that second layer, that color that I use is going to be underneath, hiding that base color. So you're going to need two maskings, one on the outside and one on the inside. So I would lay down silver on the outside, and then my next color will say it's this mint. I'm going to spray the outside, and then I'm going to spray the inside, because I like the realistic look that if I know my base color is going to be this, when you look inside and you look at the driver and you see a silver wall, that's going to drive me crazy. I better see the color of the truck inside, you know, and then you do your thing from there. Sorry.
Okay.
Project.
I love it. No, that's perfect. And I think the other cool thing when we're talking polycarbonate bodies and you're painting inside and outside, there's literally a texture difference. Like you can paint some of the body on the inside, and then if you paint, say, the bed on the outside, there's literally a texture difference or sheen. It can be like a flatter finish, and that adds depth and help a body a lot, I've noticed.
And I have an example here to show, be careful what you choose as your base coat, right? And then what actual color you want to show, all right? So take a look at this. So I painted this recently, all right? Everybody see that color?
Yep.
Okay. This is the actual color. Look at the difference.
So the base coat literally changes the color of it.
Exactly. So you have to be careful.
So lighter colors, if you back it with a white, it will be a different brighter orange. I've seen it happen with orange, and I wanted just like fluorescent orange. We backed it with a black, and it literally turned it this ugly brown. And
I get a lot of guys that come to me and they ask me like, dude, like I wanted this color and it's completely gone because I backed it with the black backer. And I'm like, well, before you did the black backer, you should have did a white or a silver if you wanted that particular shade. Now, if you want,
you can always do the black after.
Right.
That makes sense. All right, so we're midway up the car. We're coming up the windshield. Are we hovering around the roof yet? Or no, wait, we were doing the dark around your hinges. So we're doing the dark. Yep.
And then you're gonna do the dark also around the edges of the hood. Okay. Now, so with these is also, you all right?
Yeah, I was looking for something. I had a question about something. I don't have it with me.
So this car particularly, right? It's an FJ, 45, 40, doesn't matter. Some of these roofs were made out of metal. Some of them were made out of fiberglass. Okay. So you got to be careful on what in your mind, your
What
roof
is it?
Okay. And for me, I wanted to do the metal roof. I wanted to have slight bit of rust on there, but not too crazy. It had a good original clear coat on there, just,
But that would make sense even on a Jeep. What you're saying
Yes.
is if you have a Jeep, you have the outer fenders. Don't be rusting the outer fenders on a Jeep if they were not metal, correct? Is that where we're going here?
Yeah,
You don't want to be rusting something that's not going to rust.
correct. And I see that a lot. And I don't want to be that guy, but like I'm that guy, like in my head, I'm like, I go crazy, like it bothers me.
You can
Like
say
when I
you're
see a rusty
laughing
Land
behind your
Rover, and I'm
back.
like, I won't say nothing, but I'm just can't do it. Like, do you want me to paint that? I'll fix it.
You're
real quick.
You're a professional. You get to
can't.
laugh at us when we make these stupid.
No, I
goofy
don't. I don't
mistakes.
laugh at nobody.
No, I'm sure you do.
All right. So, so right now we're working with the darker color. We're doing some shading. We're fixing all that, but we are getting close to being done because there's only one more color to use, and that's going to be your final blending of the dust. And that's where I came in with this bottle. All right, you should have already wrote that one down. So this one I
Okay.
use last to
Okay.
blend everything in, because when this comes down, it's a very light color and it's very transparent. So it'll go all the way down to the bottom, because I'll spray the whole truck.
We're going over the
just
whole
this
thing.
color, right?
Yep.
Because it blends in the oil, it blends in the dark, it blends in the medium, the black, it does it all in once. And it's good for the windows if you want dusty windows. And then let that dry a little bit. And then
Let me
it's not
see the
gonna be-
inside of your bed. Did you do anything unique on the inside of the bed? Okay. Sometimes I've seen oil stains and you didn't go crazy, but I do love the
no,
color
it's
of
in there.
the color of the seats look amazing.
Oh, I hated that gray. That gray had to go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and they're really shiny gray too. It's a
Oh, yeah.
real Twitch gray. It's yeah.
Now, a good, easy technique, if you ever find yourself with this plastic interior, it looks too toy, just pop out a bottle of Tamiya flat clear.
PS, isn't that
That's
the
it.
PS55? Is that the clear? I thought we had that one memorized.
We should have. Oh, I don't have any behind me.
Uh,
But yes,
I thought I
Tamiya
had
flat
it.
clear. Either one works. If you use it for the Lexan or if you use it for the hard body, the
Yep.
TS or the PS, they both work just fine.
You just slam the whole thing
Yes.
in a clear. It gives it a more of a matte finish
Yes.
and takes
It
that
dulls it
toy
down. It
look
doesn't
out
look
of it.
good toy.
Now, are you doing that at the end of this paint job? Was that whole thing clear coated at any point?
Not at, we ran out of time at that point,
Okay.
but literally, like I gave it about 30 minutes to dry.
Yep.
Because remember, when you're with airbrush, your paint dries a lot faster. Okay. But considering the amount of layers there, I did want to give it a little bit more time to cure. But once I was done, I because it's rattle can, I'm not going to do that in the house. So I took it out back.
Okay.
And I just sprayed it down with Tamiya flat. So that'll give it the top hard coat. So it'll help, like I can pick it up with my fingers, paint isn't going on my hands, because your oils are very acidic to touch bodies that are painted on the outside. So you have to make sure that you have a clear coat of some sort. And I had to put about 4 coats of flat clear onto this before I felt
Wow.
comfortable enough. Yeah.
Okay. 4 light coats. I'm
4
assuming,
light
right?
coats.
Like
Yes.
super light. Let it dry.
Yep. Do
and I-
not use a heat gun to make it
dry
dry faster, because when it comes to a matte clear, if it dries too fast, it becomes a gray and dull, and it just it ruins it. It really does.
It won't crackle, would it?
It won't
Does
crackle. Now, if you do a
Okay.
glossy clear coat, you're risking the crackle.
The crackle. That
For the-
dreaded
on the gloss,
crackle.
yeah.
Is
But-
that
So I
the
got a
same as
question. So I got a question, because you just brought up an interesting point. So my VS 410, right? The roof
Okay.
was painted in black, and recently it cracked. The whole outside of the truck is fine. It's just the roof pieces of the paint cracked. Now,
Chip.
why would that, if it's a Lexan, why would that
Underneath
specific?
or on the top?
No, it's on the top. It just cracked. Oh. You could, I don't know if you could see it here, but see right here, like there's pieces of the paint just
Oh, you
cracking
painted that
like,
on the inside, right?
yeah, it's from the inside. So
So
why
that's the
would just
Lexan
this piece
rejecting it.
crack? What's
Yeah,
that?
okay, yep, he's
The
got the answer.
Lexan is rejecting it.
Really?
So sometimes that's in the technique, and a lot of times they will almost take a green scrubby and scratch it so it adheres better, right? Like
Right.
that bond.
Yeah.
Or maybe when you're supposed to wash the body before you paint it, like with the Dawn detergent, dry it really good. And if all of those things aren't done, it will literally start to
It
reject
could,
it over
yes.
time.
And that was Tamiya paint, right?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Was
when
there-
it was given, somebody painted it for me. When it was given to me, it was fine. It was perfect.
Well, it will last.
Over
And the other
time.
thing was, I know Eric Sutz was painting bodies with the Krylon like home paint for a little bit, and it backfired on him. I kept warning him, like, bro, that stuff is going to chip up. No, it's working. It held on just fine. Yeah, a year later, guess what? It's all right off the body. It's a clear body again. It all chips off. It doesn't work. You need to use polycarbonate paint.
Sorry, I'm messaging somebody that's in the chat room.
No problem. Yeah, so there is, and you'll probably never know the right answer, Pete. Like what Robert's saying, there are a couple of options that
I
could
mean,
have
that's the
been.
only body I ever had that did that. Just that one piece of the roof is like,
I've
Well,
actually
is that the only
I've come
body
across
that
with a
guy
lot of
painted?
Tamiya lately, though.
yes. What's that?
I've come across that a lot with Tamiya. Like
Okay.
I just finished a yellow body for a client, and it's been about 2 weeks, and all of a sudden that yellow paint. I did all the wash. I even sanded the inside. I did everything that to try to avoid that. It still happened, and then
Wow.
come to find out that the can of paint that I had bought from the hobby shop just happened to be either bad or too old.
Too old. Okay.
So there's so many different factors in, and sometimes it just happens. But for that, it's an easy fix, because now you can do a matte black instead of having that glossy top like an FJ is not supposed to have. Now you can do a matte black and then just paint it on top.
You're saying
paint
fix
it
it
on the
right on the
outside,
outside.
paint it on
Yep,
the
take it
outside.
off and
Paint on
spray
the
the
outside.
outside.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's what I
So
would have done.
Robert, when you did the interior, when you did these seats, did you pull them out?
Yes.
Okay.
I had to.
Is that the only thing you took apart then on the truck, was just removing the seats, or
I removed the seats, and I also removed the top.
you took the top off? Okay.
To take the top off. So I had to take the seats out, remove the top off. I had to disconnect the cab from the chassis, and not cab, the bed from the chassis, partial cab from the chassis, because I didn't want to leave any clean body on there. So I had to get into all the crevices, because if
Oh,
I stood there and I painted it just like this, I'm gonna have a giant square back here, and I can't do it.
okay.
It needs to be consistent.
Obviously you did it relatively quick. It wasn't that hard to get comfortable finding all the screw locations. Did you reference the manual to figure out what to take apart, or
No.
you eyeballed and saw the screws next? And okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you
I'm
just
looking
turn it
at the
over, you can
seats.
see what's holding it together.
Okay.
Now, for the seats,
The seats are
I-
right there, it looks like.
there is, but there's 2 screws on each side of the seat. It's not needed, so I only used 1 screw to screw each seat back in,
Okay.
just to make life simpler. And then
Okay.
to take the roof off, there's 3 screws, 1 here, 1 in the middle, and
Yep.
then 1 in the middle, and then another one over here on this side. So that I found a little challenging on this truck. I'm trying to figure out if I can create a magnet mount that'll work, so
Ooh.
it just snaps right into place.
Ooh.
Yeah, because the
Because-
doors and everything, they all come off the roof.
Right.
So I want to take it all off eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to be able to just pop the roof off, make the window fold down, and it's just make it so much easier.
Without
But-
having to unscrew everything. I love it.
Because it snaps into place besides the 3 screws. So it just, I don't know, it's risky. I don't like
Okay.
it.
No, you got and I think most painters will tell you it's not the finished paint job. It's all in the preparation. 90% of a good paint job was all in the prep, in the tape, and preparing the surface. And my biggest mistake is I tend to lay too much paint on too much in that first coat, like overdo it. And I want it to be done so quickly. So never rush it.
Don't rush it. Because if you rush it, you're not going to be happy with it.
You're not. And then I'm left scraping everything off, and it's a mess after that. It's a disaster. So patience,
Yes.
patience.
Definitely patience. I mean, I did it in that short period of time because I knew where I was going for. I had my colors already lined up. I was prepped. I knew
I'm so glad
how to
you
do my
did it.
layers. And no, this is not a normal quick paint job that I can do on every single body. But can I? Yeah, apparently.
It can be done.
You know? But that doesn't mean I'm any cheaper.
Right. Do not punish him because you were good and efficient at your job.
And lately, everybody, I mean, with seeing my posts and everybody's been awesome. They really have. They've been very supportive. The TRX4M stuff, I'm getting commissioned orders coming through.
Wow.
I just hope inventory stays around.
Right.
They're loving it this much. So I'm excited.
What did you pick one for your personal collection, or did you go one of each? What?
I picked up quite a bit, actually. A lot of bodies and a few chassis. I was planning on keeping one for myself, but I kept getting orders to come through. So I got to take care of my people.
You'll deal with it later.
So,
you come later.
Right.
I fell in love with the Bronco. I mean, it's flat out gorgeous. They did a great job on it, but with a couple of Broncos in my life already, I decided to go with the Defender. And they are an epic joy to drive. They are like
I haven't driven anything yet.
Like a silent ninja. Like, these things are ridiculously quiet and extremely capable. Once you drive this thing, it's not like a normal micro. I mean, the amount of throw that you get on these things, the articulation, the way the shocks work, it is not your typical crawler. Traxxas flipped the world of crawling up on its head and smacked it in the butt and said, "We are changing the game." And
they did.
It's worth it.
I feel that this class is going to create all on its own faster than the 6 scale class, unfortunately.
I think you're right. And I know you're a fan of the 6 scale stuff. And,
I am.
Yeah, no.
Stay tuned. I have a couple of honcho projects coming.
Ooh.
So, yes.
We are definitely excited. I'm a big fan of the honcho. It's a sexy truck. I think Axial did a great job with it. And that's a great palette for you to get creative with on the honcho. I mean, it's a lot more damage can be done to a honcho. It's been on the trail. The Jeep was sexy, and it's so scale. The Rubicon, they did a great job on that too. But Robert, we need to make sure we come around here. So we got the interior done. We did our tires. You do a lot of work on the underside too.
Yes. It has to match. If I see a clean chassis on a rusted body, again, it's one of those things that just drives me nuts. I can't do it. Now the undercarriage is pretty simple, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that's on there it's already dirty, it's grimy. So that same brown, okay? Spray the whole truck down. Don't go too heavy, just lightly go across just everything, right? And then when you see other areas, now this is where the cool orange and red colors come into play.
Okay. Now we're playing with rust.
Yes, now we're playing with rust. Okay. So then you can use a medium rust. Okay.
Oh.
Did you see it?
Yep.
And then you can also use a mixture of a dark rust. Okay. Again, this goes back into the blending. So this can set a really good tone for more browns or set a good tone for the reds and oranges. Okay. So to be honest with all of you guys, this is probably my go-to color for every single weather job.
No mixing. You're not coming up with any crazy combo of 3 different colors together. You can go to a go-to right out of the bottle.
I could choose to go to a go-to. Do I have my own little mixtures?
I'm sure. I want you to. Leave it that way. Yes, I want you to be creating some palette back there of some concoction, and no one can get that blend of rust the way you do, because you get what you pay for with one of your paint jobs. And not to mention, I can speak from personal opinion, I get like goosebumps knowing that you're doing something to a truck right now that, you know, is going to be mine one day, and letting someone else work on it. It's crazy good feeling. Oh, he just leaves that Easter egg hidden right in plain sight, staring at us.
You want to see it? You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamer told me he pulled it out during Operation Eleven Charlie. He's like, I saw your TF3.
So just got the wheels put on there. I'm still going to weather those up. I'm still configuring how I'm going to do that. But I will tell you, I will start with the oil-based technique. Okay.
Okay.
The wheels are not going to be shiny, but they are going to look good. Opening hood. Oh, wonder what's in there. You know,
it looks so good.
And I haven't shown you this interior.
I haven't seen any of it. The only thing I've ever seen was the hood. You sent me a picture of the hood one time, and you sent me a picture of the wheels, that the first set of wheels you painted. You sent me a picture of them, and that didn't go so well. So now we aborted, and we came up with plan B.
Yep.
It's Robert, it's good. I like it. I'm excited to get my hands on this TF3 again. And it's funny how everything comes crashing down with TRX 4Ms, Bushidos. We got there's trucks like landing this fall like crazy. There's so much happening. It will come right at the right time.
There's more around the corner. I can't wait. I'm super excited.
Super
excited. I'm renting a room in here.
I can't fit anymore in this room.
Seriously, dude. And I just picked up this thing. I just got a Night Runner. When you don't, when there's so much new stuff crashing down, we go back a year and we pull up a Night Runner and throw that into the mix.
Well, I have trucks for sale, so if anybody is interested in the Scale Rat truck,
please.
That thing's
I love what you did with that. That is so cool.
I mean, I had to take a funny truck. You know, that's what Tamia calls it. You know, they're trucks, and I had to make it look badass. So I was like,
you did a great job.
And I don't know if you guys realize I'm a big fan of FJs. So
seriously, I'm gonna go to bed tonight dreaming of FJs for some reason. They're everywhere. Robert,
awesome.
I got over 30 trucks in this room, so I need stuff to go.
Yeah, I say the same thing.
and painting is just a small part of what you do. Then I mean, you're a builder to the core, and with your design and the resin, and I mean, people forget all the motors that you design and do, and I mean, you're very talented. So if anyone is looking to kind of I don't know, hire you,
yeah, see this?
Oh.
Wow.
Where is this interior out of?
So this is my full drop-in interior for the Phoenix.
Oh, for the Phoenix.
Now.
Wow.
So that's one you designed.
Yes.
Wow, bold. I like those seats in there. That is sharp, dude.
It's gonna have TV screens in it. So like the dashboard, so in your throttle, you're gonna get, you know.
Nice. Is that Scale Built doing that, or is this all you by yourself?
That is me and my buddy Oren.
Oh, Oren Camp.
Yep.
The man.
Yep. So what I did is I created the file, I sent it to him, I said, print this out and see if the screens will fit. And he tested it. He made a couple of screens for me and everything worked. Oh, Mike's frozen.
Is he frozen?
Yeah.
Did we lose him? Hold on. Give it a second. Yeah. So are you taking orders, or how do people get in touch with you? Like if they want a body or
social media, Facebook or Instagram. I've been getting a lot of orders come through on Instagram. That's perfectly fine. I am working with a guy on building my website currently. So super, super excited about that. My website's finally going to get up after a couple of years.
I
right.
literally dropped out there. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. I had to go take a leak real quick.
Oh, is that okay?
No, Robert, I was going to say you landed on the pages of the annual gear guide this year with was that the RebelCon,
Yeah.
bro? It was a creative name too. It slipped my tongue.
White.
What was it?
Slow White.
Oh, white.
Slow White. I love it. So what interior is in that Rebel? What is staring me down, bro? Because
That interior was one that I did find. I downloaded it. I didn't like it. So I redid the whole dang thing. I was like,
okay.
I was trying to go the cheat route, but I was like,
Yep.
I don't like it. It's not gonna work for me. So I redid the whole thing, and I did my own carpet. I created a whole new dashboard for it, and
Looks pretty cool, man.
It does look good, dude. That was what caught my attention. I was like, wait a minute, what did he do here with this interior?
Yep.
This isn't
So
the standard
I
one
added,
floating around.
metal plate in the back, and it was cool. It was
Good for
You
you.
put a castle system in this.
And the wrap, obviously,
Worked
the
out.
wrap staring us down on the outside. Is
Oh
sharp.
yeah, I had to do that, you know.
No, that was
You don't even know
Good.
this is a RebelCon.
no, I
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
And probably you're right, Peter. You're 100% right. If I wouldn't have seen it at Beat the Creek, I probably wouldn't have guessed RebelCon right out the gate.
But see,
But
well, the thing was like, so the livery that I had on it at Beat the Creek, it wasn't supposed to be like shown off to everybody because it was going in the magazine. So I had to keep the truck more on a hush hush. And then it got posted on the Rebel RC website, the picture. And then magazine's like, you got to redo delivery now. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, fine. And then talking with Lee and everything, we decided to go with the camo. And then he's like, yeah, just make it look like a truck that you would see at SEMA and everything like that. And I'm like, all right, I can make this happen. So
I mean, the only way you would know this is a RebelCon is by looking at the bumper. I mean, that's like the only,
yeah,
that's
And-
the only
yeah.
original, kind of original piece to this when you look at it. Now, that's great work, man. I'm proud to share the magazine with you, Rob.
thank you. Yes, your truck was awesome, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I took a plain Jane thing and tried to soup it up a little.
Nah, you did great. It was awesome.
Thanks.
I can't wait for both of us to have many more. I mean, would you ever picture that we were going to be in the magazine?
right?
Well, you know, it's funny, like Mike was saying to me when I got the FMS Jimny, you know, a lot of people say that thing is flat out ugly. You know, the way the way the paint. No, the stock form, right? You know, I had a lot of people say to me now where I live, and Mike knows the backstory. We take our trucks off road, we go fishing, and you know, all I live near is these jacked up Jeeps, right? And it goes back to what you were saying with a vision. So I took this thing out of the box and I'm like, this thing's cool, you know, cool, but it could be so much more. You know, a little paint job goes, you know, I did a couple things to it and it transformed, like Mike said, it transformed the whole truck. I mean, it looks like a whole different, I mean, it's all about having a vision, you know, and just going with it. So I had a vision of what I wanted to look like. And I'm happy with it. I mean, it's jacked up. 2 twos on that. I mean, the thing came, it was almost touching the floor. And now it's like proper ride height. I mean, you know, it's a cool truck.
Right on, right on. I don't have one. I don't have a Suzuki. I need to get one.
You need one.
I do.
All right, so my internet's getting a little glitchy here. Let's bring this thing back full circle and get on topic because there is a reason that you're here to make an announcement, something special happening with the FJ that you did during Operation 11 Charlie.
Yes.
Where is this thing going?
So it actually.
Do we have a drum roll or something, Pete? I mean, can't you lay in a drum roll here or something? There's got to be drums or cheer. Can I cheer?
You can
Giggle. Imagine the drum roll.
All right. So I was supposed to get another FJ in the mail, working with Jeremy Kilburn on this auction donation that's going to be hosted at USTE. He was going to send me a body. I was going to paint it up. But after how this one turned out on live, they were like, this is the one that we got to do. And I'm like, okay. So USTE 2023, this will be up for auction to
Wow.
raise money for Operation 11 Charlie.
That's great.
Well, but
But
not, isn't that getting extra servo or something?
yes, and that's the collaboration with me and Jeremy. So this is being shipped back to Jeremy. It's going to get a castle system. It's going to get a reef servo, and he's going to do his magic work that he does, his artistic abilities to it.
His the Jeremy Kilburn stuff.
Yes, it's going to
Jeremy
get
Trim.
turned.
Jeremy Trim.
And then it's going to come back to me. I'm going to look to see if there's any touch-ups, and then I'll be delivering this at UST.
Wow.
I'm so
Amazing.
excited for UST.
I
Guys.
love it. I can't wait.
Let's go. I wish it was next week.
And that is the platform. That is the event to raise money. People come with their wallets and ready to give back to Operation 11 Charlie. There, no doubt. And like you said, it's appropriate. That was the truck that you painted on the show and the one that will go up for auction. So my heart goes out to you, Robert. Thank you for what you do for the veterans. It is important to mention that FMS has been along for the ride from the beginning on so many fronts. But one of the things that Operation 11 Charlie has done right now is offer a special savings on the FJ. And if I got this correct, I got a message from Jeremy earlier today. There's another savings on the Power Wagon also. But at the bottom of our link, one of the deals will run out tomorrow, I think 11/13. And then the promo code that will also be posted in the link below. If you use that code, one, you get a gift from FMS, a choice or not choice. You will be given one of their keychains sporadically. Like, you use the promo code.
He broke again.
Well, let's give it a minute, see if he comes back. I think too many people are on his internet at his house.
Oh, probably.
We'll give it a second. So, yeah, that's good, man. So, you know, with the castle system, the reef, and oh, there he is. That's going to be
So you didn't hear any of it? I don't know why the hell it's glitching.
Everybody's on the internet at your house, man.
There's no one home. Like, I'm literally home by myself right now. All right, real quick. Use the code and get a gift from FMS.
Yes.
Okay, you will get the code. And here it goes. It's unstable again. I'm ready to bill out of here. And use the affiliate link. The money goes from FMS. The money will go to Operation 11 Charlie.
Yes.
All right, Robert. Thank you for everything. And
No worries.
before Mike goes down, we'll close it out. And yeah, if anybody is interested in any bodies, definitely look up Robert. I mean, he does some great work. You know, we'll recap this post tomorrow. Definitely like all our social media platforms, Rad Show. Also, if you have any questions about today's show, shoot us an email, radshow@gmail.com. We'll post Robert's social media links in our recap tomorrow. And definitely the Robert that we brought on earlier about his event. We'll have all his social media platforms, and check us out during the week. We'll be putting up our new guest for next week, and we'll see you soon, man. Mike, thanks. Robert, pleasure. And we'll talk to everybody soon.
Sounds good.
All
Later.
right. Mike's frozen again.
He is.